Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, welcome to the show. My name is Joseph Pisani, and I am a technical specialist here with Mevo. And today is the audio show live. So, on today's show, we talk about all things audio when it pertains to Mevo. And if this is your first time joining us, we do 4 live shows a week here at Mevo, and you can find that at Mevo Camera on YouTube and on Facebook. On Tuesdays, we do Ask Mevo Anything, which is a single camera show that's done with Joe Capehart, who's our senior technical specialist, otherwise known as Joe Mevo. And actually, Joe is in the he's in the comments here today. So if you do have questions that you want answered live on the show, please feel free to ask them live on the show, and either myself or Joe in the comments will be happy to address them. On Wednesdays, we have the multicam show, and this is with Will. And on this show, Will goes through all the ins and outs for multicam. So he goes through how to connect different cameras, how to configure your network. He also goes through the audio settings. He goes through how to add graphics. So basically anything you can do with the multicam, he is on top of it. He is our multicam guru. On Thursdays, we do Mevo Live. And the Mevo Live show is a show where we try to really press what the Mevo can do. We use multiple camera setups. We connect it to systems like OBS or Streamlabs OBS or vMix or whatever we're using that day. Live Stream Studio works as well. We try to connect as many cameras we can. We use different modes of getting those cameras connected. Wrong one. So whether it be NDI or connecting through the webcam, we kind of test all of those on Thursdays. Generally, that show is with Joe and Will. And then on Fridays, of course, you know what that means. It's the Mevo audio show. So today we're going to be talking about the ways that the Mevo Start picks up audio, what types of microphones you can use, and then we're also going to go over some other things. So let's take a look at the agenda. So, of course, we're going to talk about today's setup, and I'll let you know how I'm connecting the Mevos to the stream and how I'm getting my stream to you today. We're also going to talk about the Mevo's internal audio inputs and then some of the Mevo's external audio inputs. And then we're going to go over some popular scenarios covering baseball. So the reason why I want to talk about baseball is in our tickets, we get a lot of customers, trying to figure out the best ways to broadcast their outdoor sports. Baseball being one of the biggest that we see. And now that it's getting nicer out, the summer's starting to get here, the leagues are starting to pick up. So we'll cover some scenarios with that. And of course, we'll be taking your questions here live on the show. So again, if you have any questions for me or any questions at all, just please put them in the comments and we'll be happy to answer them. All right, so let's talk a little bit about today's setup. So right now I'm coming to you through 2 Mevos I have set up right now. I have my front camera right here, which is the one I'm speaking to. This is connected via NDI over Ethernet, and that's connected to OBS on my computer. And then to my right, I also have a mixing cam right here. So this is where I can show you the analog mixer that I'm using and how I'm running audio to give you some examples of that. This camera is also running NDI. This one's actually running wirelessly. So I'm picking different ways to run my cameras just to show that you can do different things with the Mevo. So before we get started, I do want to mention that we do have a great referral program. So if you're new to Mevo or if you just purchased a Mevo, go to mevo.com/referral and get your referral code. So what you can do with this is if you have friends or family that are interested in Mevo, you can save them 5% and earn a 5% commission on your end as well. And then, of course, we always want to talk about what's going on as far as sales are going. We've been getting a lot of questions about this. The Mevo Start 3-pack is back. So I'm happy to announce that if you go to mevo.com, and this is exclusively at mevo.com, you can order the 3-pack online right now. Right now, the back orders that the 3-pack was experiencing are being filled, and then the next round of orders will go out, and our warehouse is full. So if you are interested in getting more than one Mevo or getting a pack together, you can get this pack right now for $9.99. Great. So I talked about which cameras I'm using, but let's also talk about, since this is the audio show, how I'm running my audio right now. So I'm coming to you direct through this blue microphone, which is actually being routed to my mixer. So you can see it right here. So this is channel 1 on my mixer, and the blue is coming through here. And then I'm coming out of my mixer through my outputs, which is RCA. And this is going direct into the back of the Mevo Start. So I'll show you what that looks like as well. So this is the Mevo Start. The Mevo Start has a couple of different ways you can get audio into it. You have the internal audio, which is the microphones that are built on top of the Mevo, which we're going to get into in a little bit. But what I was referencing just now was the 3.5 millimeter TRS input in the back of the Mevo. Now, what's important to know is that this is a TRS input, not a TRRS input. So let's take a look at what the differences are with that. So if you look at the slide to my left here, or your left, my right, I don't know. There's a couple different options. You have tip sleeve, which is a TS connection. This is generally used for instrument cables, like guitar cables or keyboards. This is a mono connection, so this will not carry a stereo signal. The tip ring sleeve, which you see there in the middle, that is a stereo connection. Don't pay too much attention to the sizes here. Those are 1/4-inch jacks. The Mevo does take a 3.5 millimeter jack, which is closer to the size on the right, but I want to give everybody an idea of what these look like. And then the tip ring sleeve on the right, this connection cannot be used with the Mevo. So the reason why is this connection has an additional line run through it. So for example, on older cell phones that still have the 3.5 millimeter connection on them, if you were to hook up a wireless headset, you have a microphone connection. So that third ring is there to send the signal back from the microphone. Since the Mevo doesn't have any audio out from analog from the camera itself, it's not going to use this connection to send any type of mic signal back out. This is on the back of the Mevo. It's just a input for. Let me get back to my Mevo Start here. Where are you? There you go. Right. So it's just an input for audio, and that's how I'm coming out of my mixer. So on top of the 3.5, you do have an option to use USB-C, as you can see on the right-hand side there. Now, the USB-C connection is great if you're using any type of audio interface that's driverless, or if you have a mixer, something like this, that doesn't have any drivers as well. So the mixer I'm using is an analog mixer. So this mixer has no USB output. This is strictly an analog mixer. You don't need to, it doesn't carry any type of USB signal or digital signal. So this is the only option I have on this mixer is to come out of my main outputs here into the 3.5. But the USB connection is great if you have an interface that you want to do some mixing on and then send that to the Mevo, or if you have a USB microphone, which I can give you an example of right here. Right here. Great. So this is an example of a USB microphone that you can connect to the Mevo. This is a Blue Yeti. This Mevo connects from a micro USB port to the USB-C, so you may need an adapter for this. Now, it's important to know that if you're using a microphone that's being powered by the USB port, like the Blue Yeti, those microphones will need to be powered from the Mevo because that's the only connection that you're making, right? You're going from USB to USB. So there is a function on the Mevo, in the Mevo app, which I can actually show you right here. So if I go to my app and I go to my settings, and this is the Mevo 2.0 app, not the multicam app. This is all done inside the Mevo 2.0 application. And if I go to, what was I doing? App settings. Nope. Mevo settings. Right there. So if you look right here on where it says power management, it's third up from the bottom there. There's a choice that you can power external USB devices. Now, I have this turned off right now because I'm not powering anything and I don't want to waste my Mevo's battery and confuse it by having it look to send power out of its output. But if you do use a USB microphone like the Blue Yeti, you do want to have this checked on. So again, that's power external USB devices. And that again allows you to power other things using the Mevo. Now, it's important to remember that if you're using a USB mic like this, it is going to use up the Mevo's battery. So if you have the Mevo Start comes with up to a 6-hour battery life. That battery life will obviously drain a little bit quicker when you're connecting a microphone to it. So it's important to know that. Great. Okay, so let's dive in and get into some questions. So let's answer some questions. It looks like we have one coming in right now. I'll get to that. And then after that, we'll dive into our slides and talk a little bit about the baseball field. So a question from Matt. Thanks for making these shows. It's a huge help. You're welcome, Matt. We love doing them. We'll be using my Sennheiser Lab next Tuesday. Great. If you were shooting on a rooftop there in Brooklyn at around 80 to 87 degrees outside, how long would you leave the cams in the sun working? Seems like the cams get a lot of baseball games. So, okay. So basically what you're asking here is as far as like operating temperature. It's not so much the 87 degrees, it's more the direct sunlight. But I don't think you'd have any issues at that. What I would suggest is just try to find a way to cool the camera down if it does overheat, or just keep an eye on it. If you do feel like you'll notice it getting hot. What's great about the Mevo is it does have a feature in it that if the camera overheats, the camera will send you a warning to your app, and then it will shut down. Now, it'll do this once it gets to a certain threshold of heat. And it does this to protect the camera itself, right? So it doesn't want to damage the camera, so it will shut down if it does get too hot. Now, you're right. A lot of people use this with baseball, and we're going to talk about that as well. But we have seen some great innovative ways to basically shade the camera to keep it out of the direct sunlight, so you get a little bit more time out of it. We have some people that have literally put umbrellas around it or put little hoods on it and created their own little ways. If you're not a member of the Mevo customer group yet, please join the Mevo customer group, because I will say the Mevo customer group is great for innovative ideas of how to get around little things like this, like is it going to be too hot, or where can I put this, or things like that. Our customer group, they are awesome. They come, and I'm going to get into some stuff a little bit about what they can do. But thank you for that question. All right. Karen says, hey from Cincinnati. How you doing, Karen? Nice to see you or hear from you. Perfect. You covered my first question. To confirm, analog mixer signal directly to Mevo, no converter needed. Yes. So what Karen is asking is, do we need a way to convert the signal? Now, I don't want to say no as a blanket statement, because it depends on the equipment that you're using. But if you're using any type of analog mixer like you mentioned, then no, you don't, because the mixer is taking care of all that conversion. So in this mixer, you have a preamp, which is taking your microphone signal and bringing it to a line signal. And then you have your controls, and then you can send that line signal out from the mixer. So if you're going right through your mixer, all you have to do is make sure that cable is a stereo 3.5 millimeter TRS cable to whatever adapter you need. Like, for example, I'm splitting that into a left-right RCA connection on this, but I don't have to. I can come out of my my headphone jack as well, just using a regular 3.5 to 3.5 cable like this. So I can come out of my headphones and go direct into Mevo. I like coming out of my main outputs, so I have my headphones for monitoring if I want to use that. But great question. Thank you for that. Fred the Hippo is coming in. All right, cool. Let's get to his question. So Fred the Hippo says, when will the Mevo 2.0 audio settings be moved to the multicam app? You know, Fred, that's a great question. We don't have a date for that yet, and it is something that we are looking to do, because we understand that, going from app to app could be, annoying. But what I can say is, once you set up your Mevo 2.0 settings, you can kind of set and forget them, because they will translate over to the multicam app. Now, it is important to mention that if you're using the multicam app, it won't translate all the audio options, right? So it'll do most of them. So it will do the internal microphones, it will do the 3.5 connection and the USB-C connection, and it will do the remote mic app. The only thing it won't translate is if you're using the device running the Mevo 2.0 app, if you're using that device's audio, because that's meant for the Mevo 2.0 app, right? So you can't run the actual device audio that you're using the apps on, but you can run all the other different connections. So thanks. All right. And Sanskrit says, when using multicam app on an iPhone in conjunction with the Mevo app on iPhone 2, Mevo mic app on iPhone 2. Okay, so we're using two iPhones. One iPhone is using the Mevo app. One is using the Mevo mic app. The multicam app shows the iPhone 2 as a device connected to one of my cameras and not a separate device. Is this how it's supposed to work? Yes. Yeah. So basically what it is, what the multicam app is looking to do is it'll separate whatever audio you select from whatever video it's coming from, right? So if you're cutting through three different scenes, but you only have one Mevo running your audio, you can have that one Mevo running your audio the whole time. So if you're using the Mevo multicam app, you want that app connected in the Mevo 2.0 app first, get that connection established, and then slide over to the multicam app, and you should be set and good to go. So if you don't know how to do that, I can actually walk you through that right now. So let's hop into our Mevo 2.0 app, and let's set up a remote mic source, right? So what we're talking about right now is the remote mic app from Mevo. So if you're not familiar with that, you can absolutely download that in the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. Okay, so let's dive in here. And so this is our audio mixer inside the Mevo 2.0 app, right? So I'm going to open up my cell phone here. Let's take a look at that as well. And where's my phone sign? Up right above it. Okay. So if I open up my Mevo mic app, what it's going to do is going to look for Mevos. Oh, it's already connected. Let's see if we can disconnect that. Cool. Right, so this is the initial screen here. So this is the Galaxy S9 Plus. Oh, you know why? I'll tell you why. Why it's automatically connecting is because in my 2.0 app, I have it selected. So let's disconnect that. Great. So now if I go back to the phone app, so what it's going to do here is going to look for the Mevos in the area, right? So it's detecting the Mevos. And as you can see, it says 2 Mevos detected. So now, since it's detecting the Mevos, it sees where they are, it knows that they're around, it can connect to them. So if I go into my Mevo 2.0 app here, and I click Edit Input, you'll see the menu pop up, and then I'll have the option to select my Mevo mic app. Now, it is important to take a look at this. So what you're hearing from me right now is the blue microphone. And let me just put on some monitoring to make sure that this is going to come through the way I want it to. Again. Monitoring on. Great. Okay. So when I switch over, what I want to do first is I want to mute my blue microphone. And then unmute the remote mic, which is coming from my cell phone right now. So if you look at my phone app, as I'm talking, you'll actually see, you'll see the waves start to move here. And I can also control this from the app as well as far as muting and unmuting. So if this particular phone is away from my Mevo, away from the control app, I can still mute from here. So now, once this setup is established, right, I'm speaking through my phone, through the Mevo 2.0 app into the feed. That's when you would switch over into the multicam app. So if I hop over to the multicam app, which I may or may not be able to do this, so let's see. You know what, let's do this a safer way. And let's just connect to a Mevo that's not streaming to you guys right now. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm opening up my multicam app, and as you can see, there's 2 apps there. There's 2 Mevos that I'm using right now. And then I just turned on another one. So let's connect to that other one, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect this mic to that app. So check this out. So let's get out of here. Let's go back into here. All right, let's do that. I'm just going to go back to my blue for a second so you guys can hear what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the mic app from the one Mevo. And then I'm going to disconnect from that Mevo, which you can actually do without canceling your stream. If you didn't know that, you can absolutely disconnect this. Then I'm going to look for, this is that one. So this is, let's go here. We're going to connect here. Oh, I have to disconnect from the multicam app. And then go back. Cool. All right, so now there's the camera I want. Let's connect to it. That's crazy. And let's go to my mic inputs. We're going to add in our Mevo mic app. Let's going to pause that. So now anything that we're saying through the Mevo mic app is going to this Mevo. So let's get out of this. Let's go back into our multicam app. Bam. We're going to pull that up right now. Now, as you can see, the multicam app is finding all the Mevos, but we're all going to connect to one at this time. And I believe we're going to connect to 9P. Connect. Great. So now that I'm in the multicam app and I go to my audio. Oops, that's not audio. There it is. So here you go. So now that's your audio mixer, and what you can do from here is, as you have multiple cameras set up, you can pick and choose and mute which audio you want to come to your stream. So for example, you can have your analog mixer running to one Mevo, you can have your remote mic running to another Mevo, and you can have, let's say, just the Mevo internal mic apps on a third Mevo just collecting the room tone. And then you can mix these together. So if you're savvy with audio, you can move up and down the faders and try and find a nice stereo mix of whatever you're doing, of whatever your performance is, or ball game, or setup, or whatever. So that's how you would get audio into the multicam app, and that's also how you make sure that you're using the audio that you want to use. So make sure you set that up in Mevo 2.0 first, and then you can kick it over to the multicam. So hopefully that broke all that down for you. Thank you for that question. Cool. All right, so let's go back in. Jack says, what mic are you using? Great question, Jack. So this is the Bluebird. This is a large diaphragm condenser microphone, and this is an analog microphone that has a high pass filter, and it also has a negative 20 dB cut if you need it. So that's great. So I'll give you an example of just what that sounds like. So this is without the cut on, and then this is with the cut on. Obviously, I dropped a lot lower. So as you notice that once I put that cut on, my audio dropped from 20 decibels, and that's just a pad in case you are using this microphone to record something super loud, like a drum set or something like that. It gives you that 20 decibel pad on it, so you have a little bit of headroom, so you're not peaking so much or blowing out anything. All right, last question for right now. So Fred the Hippo says, what's the difference between line out and headphone out? Really nothing. Unless you're talking about digital versus analog, but no, there's no difference. The headphone out is a line out, so that is a stereo line signal line level connection. Some mixers, you don't have control over your line out output, whereas a stereo you always do with a headphone output you always do. You always have some type of headphone control. So for example, I can show you that here, right here. So this is my stereo control knob, and this will control the headphone. This headphone output only, but there's no difference. Okay, look, we got one more question. Oh, all right, so this says from Sanskrit. It was a great question actually. Here she said, or he. I always gender these. This great Mevo customer says, do incoming phone calls disrupt any of the Mevo apps? So yes, if you were using hotspot mode and you answer a call, you would get interrupted. I would recommend putting the phone on do not disturb mode just to avoid this, because if the phone, actually I'm pretty sure if you even just get an incoming call, it'll get kicked off. But if you're using the Wi-Fi app, Wi-Fi connection, I should say, no, because you can disconnect from the Mevo app. But if you're in the hotspot mode and you disconnect from the app, it'll disconnect from the stream. So yeah, so that's it for questions. Great, thank you for that for right now. So I'm going to hop out of questions and get into what we want to talk about today, which is how to set up your Mevo camera on a baseball field. We get that question a lot, and I want to get into it. Great. Cool. All right, and pull this up here. Why are you not? Hold on a second. Running into some technical difficulties. Oh, that's because I'm on the wrong one. There we go. Cool. So right away, I just want to give a shout out. This is a shout out to Mark Neil McCrary. He's in our Mevo customer group, and he posted this picture. And I got to say, this is awesome. So he's using the Mevo on the field. He's got a great angle on this exciting play. It looks like a play for home. I mean, the catcher probably caught a pop. Probably pop one up, and looks like he threw his helmet off. This is a lot of detail in this action shot. But what I like about this, and why I want to bring this up, is because he does capture a great angle, right? A lot of our customers want to put their the Mevo right on the backstop, and sometimes that won't capture first and third base. And on this angle, he gets to see the whole infield, which is pretty awesome. And as you can see right here, the people on the red team, they're playing hard. They're looking to dive over that catcher or crash into him. So this is probably a car crash of a play. But what I want to also bring up is I love his use of the graphics in the Mevo, right? So he's putting his scoreboard up on the top left. He's using a corner bug on the top right. These are all things you can do natively inside the Mevo 2.0 app if you have the Vimeo plan. If you're using the multicam app, you actually have this available to you as well. So I just thought this was a great shot. So shout out to Mark for posting this in our group. Here's another one. This is a shout out to Doug, and he posted this in our group as well, using a similar setup. He's got first and third in the shot. In my opinion, he's a little high, but it's good to see those pop flies. But again, using the graphics, right? He has the scoreboard up on the top left, and what I really like is what he used here is he has the player information, the player graphics on the bottom left-hand side. I think this is awesome, right? So he has a picture of whoever's up at bat. He has their number, their statistics and stuff like that, and he can do this all right on the app, which I think is pretty cool. So let's talk some setup here. So this is an example of a typical baseball type setup. If you want to do some type of voiceover or announcing during the game, we do get questions a lot about how do I get good audio for my baseball streams, and if I'm doing multiple games, and some people want to do, like I said, announcing, do color commenting. So this is just a great way to kind of get that accomplished. So what I'm showing here is using the 3.5 millimeter input, like we discussed, and that will be connected through the TRS connection using a wireless lav. So you can use any type of wireless lav unit you want here. I mean, there's definitely no preference. But the cool thing about this is you can send audio signal wirelessly, and you can be in a different area. So if, let's say you're coaching, but you're also recording, right? You can set the Mevo up somewhere else, and then you can talk during the game and even give your players, coaches notes in real time, right? So when they watch back the game, they'll hear the coach nice and clear. Or if you're just streaming and you want to just make it entertaining for the people at home, you can do your own color commenting or own announcing for the game. You can import different audio sounds. Like I know on Will's multicam show, he shows you how to use the multicam app to get baseball crowd sounds put in, baseball music, which I think is really cool. Makes it a little bit more exciting, a little bit more engaging on the stream, which I think is really cool. So what I have here is the lav unit, the transmitting unit, which is TX, is on the person. And then the receiving unit is going to the Mevo via the 3.5 millimeter input. Now, this is all being streamed based off the LTE cellular connection. So again, this goes back to one of the questions we had a little bit earlier. If I'm using my cellular connection, I get a call while I run into issues, put it in Do Not Disturb mode. And this way you don't have to worry about it. Or if you don't want to use your own phone for this, you could always hook up a mobile hotspot or a separate Wi-Fi router if you want to get a little bit more extension out of it. So this is definitely a popular one I wanted to show. And then the next one is actually, which is kind of great that I have this right here. It piggybacks off of what we were just talking about, right? The Mevo Mic app. So this is essentially doing the same exact thing as the lavs, but you're doing it with a cell phone or another device. Now, it is important to know that if you are doing this, you need to have a separate device than the device that's running the Mevo app. So, for example, when I was doing the tablet demonstration, my tablet was running the app, but the cell phone was what was being broadcasting the audio, right? So those aren't going to be the same device. So it's important to know that you want to make sure that if you are using the remote app, you want that to be a different device. And again, using the cellular connection. And if you don't want to do separate audio, if you just want to use the Mevo internal audio, you can absolutely do that. I would recommend, starting with wind mode if it's a really windy day. If it's calm day, I would maybe say just stick with the general mode. So I could show you that as well. So let's hop into our Mevo app again. And there we go. And let's connect to this guy. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's connect to this guy. This guy. All right. So from here, I can show you what the audio looks like without a 3.5 millimeter input plugged in. So on your audio mixer, you might see two different things. So on this one, you're going to see that this is the mixer, the Mevo that's running my mix, that's filming the mixer to my right. I'm sorry. I'm all pretzeled up today, guys. But what's cool about this is I can show you that the audio processing, the general music, speech, and wind, these settings are for the internal Mevo microphones, right? So those 3 microphones that are on the top. So what the wind feature is going to do in that scenario is, if it's a really windy day, it's going to detect how much like the intensity of the wind hitting the microphones. It's going to detect the frequency of the wind hitting the microphone, so whether it's low frequency or high frequencies or both. And then it'll run an algorithm that will kind of determine what that sounds like. And I can probably pull up an example of that, actually. Let me do that right now and give you a little example of what the wind mode can do. Oh, maybe not. All right, we might have to get back to that because I think... Oh, wait, no, do I have it? Do I have it? Sorry, guys, this is terrible. Got it. All right, so let's check it out. All right, and let's go back to my... Oh, you know what we got to do first? We're going to go back to our app. That's running our Mevo, so that's this guy, 22 APY. We're going to go into our audio settings. We're going to edit our inputs, and we're going to turn on the Mevo mic app as well. Let's pop it on. Wait for it to pop up. There it is. Got an error message. Whoa. Oh, you know what? It's just connected to a different Mevo. All right. We're going to skip this because I'm wasting too much time on it. But essentially, that's what you would do. So if you notice that on this view, all you see is line in and mic level. So the reason why you're not seeing general, wind, and speech is because when you connect the 3.5 millimeter input, it actually changes it physically inside the Mevo, so it doesn't give you those options. And this is just to eliminate instances of feedback. If we didn't do it this way, you'd have situations where you're plugging in the 3.5 millimeter input, but then maybe you're not remembering to mute the internal microphones manually, and then you're going to get all kinds of crazy echoes and reverbs and just noise you don't want. So we do that automatically. We just make the assumption that if you're using the 3.5 millimeter input, you're plugged into some type of mixer or microphone or something, and that's your main audio source. So that's why that is the way that is. Great. All right, so we got that one. Cool. So I want to show these two. Shout out to Amber Alexis from the Mevo customer group. She created this little, it looks like a pipe cleaner almost, but she said it did great in kind of mitigating some of the wind noise. So if the wind noise is definitely too strong, or if it's really overpowering your internal microphone from the Mevo, you can do something like this. You can also do something like this. This is from Randal in the customer group, and I thought this was kind of cool. You basically just cut up a sock and wrapped it around the Mevo, which is pretty interesting. Now, obviously, temperature, may be a concern during these types of things, but I mean, I don't see that being too much of a concern here, and it definitely will cut down some of that wind. All right, so the next one I want to talk about is the Mevo with a shotgun microphone. So let me give you an idea what that shotgun microphone looks like. So that's going to be something like this. Oh, there we go. That's going to be something like this. Now, a shotgun microphone is really designed to shoot at distances. So this is going to be, well, not distances, but more directly, I should say. Now, this is great if you want to catch calls from like an umpire, but let's say the Mevo is a little further away. So if I go back into the baseball slide here. Baseball slide, there it is. So let's say that you have the microphone pointed at home plate just to pick up the ump calls, just to pick up the coaches or the players or what they're saying on the field. You can have it even pointed at the dugout or something like that just to get some atmosphere. This is something you can absolutely do, and there's a number of different ways you can do this. So here's an example. Now, again, this is not a baseball field, but shout out to Hanna. Now, this is an example of just hooking up a standard Rode small shotgun mic with a wind shield on it. What I really wanted to show you here was the windshield. So this is something that if you are using a shotgun microphone or any type of external microphone, you do want to make sure that if you're outside and it is windy, you do protect the mic from harsh, intense wind, because that will just ruin the sound for your stream. So definitely shout out to Fred there. So thanks for that. All right, that's it for the baseball. So let's dive into questions. Looks like we have a bunch of questions coming in, and let's take a look. Okay, so Steven says, how do I start the timer countdown? Great question. I love this question. Let's talk about it. Let me hop into my Mevo 2.0 app. So the way I do the timer, there's a couple of different ways you can do it. Again, I'm using OBS, but the timer itself I'm using through the Mevo app. So check it out. If I hop onto the Mevo app and I go into I guess it's a picture frame right here. It's like a picture frame on an easel on the bottom right-hand side. And I click that. That's basically just telling me that's my graphics menu. Now, if you have the Mevo 2.0 app, you do need a Vimeo plan to access this menu. If you don't, then you can't. So I'm going to go into that middle plus sign for an addition. And here, as you can see, I have a bunch of countdowns already kind of set up depending on how much time I want to do, but let's create a new one. On the right-hand side, you see countdown. So from here, I can pick and choose whatever time I want. So let's say we want to set it for, you know, I don't know, whatever, a minute. And then I click the check mark on the right-hand side. So from here, now I have a choice, right? I can make that countdown transparent background. So it's just numbers on a screen, or if you have an image that you want to put behind it. I can change the color of the background. I can change my text black or white and change things around that way. Or if I click the camera icon on the bottom left hand here, I can actually add a background to it and then start my countdown that way. Oh, I've clicked back. Let's do it again. Bam. Let's go with white. No, let's go with, let's go with white. And let's go with, there we go. See how that looks. Now we have letters with the black. I click the check mark. So now if I have a white background minute countdown and a black one as an option as well, it takes a second to load this up. And once it's done, I'm ready to go. So once you select your countdown, there it is. Then you can click on it. Now at this screen, it's asking you, do you want this to go out to your stream or not? I do, so I'm going to click the check mark. So now if you look on what you're seeing now on the right-hand side, that's actually the stream that's going out that's connected to this camera. What you're seeing on here, this is all delayed, but this is the screen recording. So if I go back to like my intro screen here, you should see the countdown right there. Then if I want to get out of that, I simply just hit the red circle, confirm it, and now we're out. There you go. Thank you for that question. Let's dive back in. So DJM Williams says, multicam app on my iPad will not live stream to any source, okay? I can record only. Is this a problem with my iPad or the app Mevo 2.0 will live stream perfectly from the very same iPad? Interesting. So for this one, I would definitely recommend that you open up a ticket at help.mevo.com. We're probably going to ask for logs in this situation, so make sure you have memory cards installed. When you open up your ticket, what I would recommend is just give us as much detail as possible, right? So give us what iPad version, what OS version you're using. Do you have the latest version of the multicam app? Have you updated it yet? What is your internet connection? How are you connecting? Are you doing hotspot mode? Are you on Wi-Fi? What are your upload speeds? All the stuff we're going to ask you is basically that. We want to know what your setup is so we can really troubleshoot through that. But definitely open up a ticket, help.mevo.com. All right. Fred says, what is the Mevo hotspot mode? That's a great question, Fred. So what the Mevo hotspot mode is and does is that is a mode that allows you to use your phone or tablet's cellular data. So whether you have 5G, 4G, LTE, well, everything's LTE, but 5G or 4G, you can use that data to run your stream. Now it's different than using the Mevo, than using like your phone's mobile hotspot, right? So when you're using your phone's mobile hotspot, what the phone is doing is essentially sending out a Wi-Fi signal that anything can connect to. The Mevo hotspot is actually using the phone's data. So you're not using the phone's hotspot because some of these hotspot plans are limited, as far as whatever provider you have. But nowadays, most people have unlimited data plans, or if you are going to use a mobile hotspot, you should probably have an unlimited data plan, especially if you use it often. But yeah, so that's what it does. So basically what it does is the Mevo will create its own hotspot. The phone will connect to it. And then from there, the phone will control everything as far as that's internet related, and the Mevo will just piggyback off that. So you can absolutely use your phone and your Mevo out in the wild without having any type of Wi-Fi or Ethernet connection. Thank you, Fred. Fred coming in hot with another one. Can we record in the multicam to a hard drive connected to an iPad or iPhone USB? Okay, so no. At this time, we cannot use external thumb drives or external hard drives to record from either of the apps. The multicam app, what the multicam app will do is it'll record the live edit. So whatever is you're doing live, that version of the program, let's say, that'll get recorded onto the device. And then you can also ISO record each individual angle. So let's say you have 3 cameras and you want to edit them later, right? So you can record each of those individual recordings to the memory card that's inserted into those cameras. And then later on, if you want to do a post edit, you can absolutely go and get all those angles back. Let's say you messed up on the live edit, you want to kind of fix something. Now you have all that footage and it's at its highest quality. So Fred, thank you for that question. I do appreciate that. And it looks like they're playing my music. So before I go, I do want to mention one more time that if you are a Mevo customer and you want to pull a little bit more money in your pocket on the side, sign up for the referral program. So mevo.com/referral or mevo.com/refer. Now this is available in the US only, but if you recommend or give this coupon code to friends or family, they will get 5% off their purchase at mevo.com. And you can also earn a 5% kickback on commission as well. So that's just a way that we like to give back to our community and let them, put a little money in their pockets as well. And then of course, we also want to talk about our bundle. Well, I shouldn't say bundle, the Start Pack 3-pack. So this is the Mevo Start 3-pack. This is back in stock. I know a lot of people have been asking about it. So here it is. It's available exclusively at mevo.com. And this is 3 Mevo Starts. And I believe the price right now is $9.99, which is a great deal. It's essentially buy 2 get 1 half off. So if you are using multicam, if you are really growing your engagement, growing your streams, and want to grow your audience and really add that next level to your production, I do recommend picking up the Mevo Start 3-pack. So with that being said, I'm going to say good afternoon. Have a great weekend. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for all the questions. That was awesome. I do appreciate that. If you're just watching this at a later time, post some questions in the comments as well. We'll be sure to answer them. If you have anything more technical, open up a ticket. Either myself, Will, or Joseph, or Joe will answer those in the tickets. So again, if you want to follow us at Mevo Camera on all the social medias, and we will see you next time. Have a great day.